Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee was founded in 2014 by Ed and Courtney Lemmix alongside their son, Brett. The Lemmixes are Pensacola natives with a passion for coffee, so what better than their Beachin blend, which is just that, Beachin. It's their classic combination of Colombian and Brazilian beans. It creates a superior French roasted coffee taste, lower in caffeine, so it'll keep you easy breezy. Ed and Brett are both FSU alums and are extending a special offer to our listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit thelunacoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi.
And Corey Clark.
I got the feeling. Baby, I got the feeling.
Wake up! What is up? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Use that promo code WARCHANT15. You could save 15% off your order over at DeLunaCoffee.com with that promo code WARCHANT15. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Promo code for us, WarChant30. If you don't feel like signing up for the website, I mean, I could blame you. There's lots of reasons why you should. But if you're not going to, whatever, it's just another day in your life. But hit the thumbs up. Maybe leave a 5-star rating and review. Not a lot of time for funny business today, Corey Clark. We'll do some pleasantries here, but we got lots to talk about. Lots of Renegade Express questions. Last I checked, I think 14 replies. We only had the thread up for like 10 hours. But before we get to all that, your mental, physical well-being, how would you characterize it right now, Corey?
I'm doing pretty well in both, I would say. Stomach seems to be doing better. I've given it a break. Eating, I think sushi's good. Sushi can't be bad for the stomach, right? It's not like fatty.
No.
Right?
I mean,
so I had it. I've had it.
It's clean.
Yeah, So I've had some sushi. I've had some light sandwiches. Been really low key on the soft drinks.
Okay.
Steering away from that.
Yep.
No beer. Just trying my best, man. Trying to give my stomach a break because my stomach was mad at me a few days ago. My mental health, I'm always strong, man. I'm always strong. I rise and grind. You know that. I'm a grinder. I'm here to do work. I
used to not be able to eat dinner unless I had a soft drink from, age 5 to 25. And now I only have a soft drink with, like, barbecue. Or if I'm, like, out at a restaurant sometimes. When I'm eating dinner at home, I just drink water.
Have you gone to a restaurant lately?
Yeah. Been a few weeks.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah, like you and Ira will just be like, yeah, hey, man, before you go to headlines, can you stop and grab me a 2-liter of cola? It's like,
right.
I just drink some water, man. It'll change your life. Let's change people's lives about Florida State football, shall we, Corey? You wrote about Derek Ray. We spoke to him. He is the general manager of personnel for Florida State. He had been working in a similar position at Oregon State University. Shout out to him for answering questions. Shout out to everybody on the beat asking good questions. I went into it. I wanted to be like, what do you do? Why do you do what you do? I feel like he answered all that sort of stuff. It was a very revealing interview, which you wrote about afterwards. So how would you characterize how he characterizes his job?
I don't know, but doesn't he come across as just a straight-up football nerd? And I mean that in a positive.
Yes, very.
But doesn't he seem just like a straight football nerd? Like what you would identify as like one of these baseball geeks that really dives into numbers and OPS and expected batting average and expected slugging percentage and line drive rate and exit, all the analytics that baseball guys use. I feel like he's busting at the seams to use those in football, to use those in evaluating portal guys or high school recruits. I don't know how you do it, but he strikes me as that. Like he loves that kind of stuff.
Yes, a lot of alignment with probably Mike Norvell, his sort of coming up and how he fell into the profession, or not fell, but kind of grew into the profession. So, yeah, he definitely strikes you as one of those guys that is very cerebral, I guess, thinking of looking at this, using all the buzzwords, alignment, speaking, what he said, language, power in words, I mean, I don't know. It was pretty good stuff. Check it out. I think you'll all enjoy it. But yeah, I guess it's
vague though, right? It seemed a little vague.
Yeah. I mean,
it was kind of
ultimately
tough to write
ends with
about.
Mike Norvell. I just feel like I wish I would have asked him, what's the organizational chart? Like, does everybody report to you and then you create like the nice streamlined rundown that Norvell sees? But to mention like everybody's voice being heard, and so it's like, all right, well then what are we doing here? I mean, I figured like you would streamline things, you being the GM, like, all right, I'll talk to Kewan Ratliff, who's a high school relations guy. He says that a coach down in Fort Myers, like, you got to see this kid. I'll look at it and then let you know whether or not that's like a valid prospect. But yeah, it's a fluid situation.
Think about that though. Like, if some high school coach in Miami tells Kewan Ratliff, hey man, I got this. He's kind of under the radar, but he's a really good player. I can't imagine Mike Norvell is just gonna leave that the evaluation to someone else. Like, you know what I mean? Especially somebody he doesn't really know.
I don't know.
Like, I know you want to hire good people and let them do their jobs. Yeah, but when you're going to offer a kid a scholarship, or you don't want somebody to go through the cracks because you didn't know about them. And I'll equate it to baseball a little bit. There was a player, I think he was from Central Florida, maybe 10 years ago, shortstop. I think he wanted to come to Florida State. Florida State never really recruited him. I don't even know if Florida State knew about him. So he goes to NC State. His name's Trey Turner. He becomes an MVP candidate in the Major League Baseball. Fastest guy in the sport. And it's like, maybe you need, you can't leave it up to other people to do that kind of stuff. Like, I would assume if Mike Martin or Mike Martin Jr. knew about Trey Turner and saw the goods, it's like, absolutely we're recruiting that guy. What? So you just don't want people to fall through the cracks because this guy. But the point being, that might not even be his job. I doubt that's his job necessarily, but it's still a little vague as to what he does. And is like, is he going to override Odell Higgins on a defensive tackle recruit?
No,
I was like, no, Odell.
No.
No, Odell, we're not doing that. The word he kept using over and over again was communication. So I think what he would do, and he said he loves evaluating, that he loves watching film. That's his hobby. That's his passion. He said he would do it 20 hours a day if he could, and I guess he can. So nothing's stopping you, Derek. To watch 20 hours of film, and that is what he loves to do. But I still don't know that his opinion is going to outweigh any position coaches. Because why would it? You got to trust the guys that you're coach. I mean, I think his will. I think it'll be valued. But a GM in pro football, well, their opinion is final. Like, it's like, this is the guy we want. This is the guy we're going to go get. We're going to offer him this amount of money. We're going to we're going to make this trade to get him. It's my role. It's my job to do this. That's not really the same here. He wants to acquire good players, but I still think he's got a bunch of other people kind of as a safety net, where it's not just him willy-nilly deciding who's going to be on the Florida State roster.
Right.
But you're right. An org chart would be good. I don't know if he would have told us, but an org chart would be helpful just to know exactly how important is this job? Because it's a new job. It's a new role in the Florida State football offices. How important is it? Because it sounds really important.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't trying to imply that he can be like, he can go to a high school and on the spot offer the kid the scholarship. But I do think Mike Norvell or Adam Fuller is so busy, Alex Atkins is so busy that you probably, you got to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? But you got to, golly, Aslan, figure out the word. What is it when you allow other people, you mete out other responsibilities to people instead of just being, like, we all
delegate?
Delegate, thank God.
Delegate?
Good Lord.
You got it.
My goodness. Yeah,
it's all right. You did it. We did it together. That's what teamwork, guys.
That's what it's all about.
That's what teamwork looks like.
I would figure that this is part of delegating responsibility to a guy like this, to be more like a gatekeeper. Like, what we need. And he talked about the fact that you have to evaluate correctly and at a really high level, because that's how you're being judged. Not just him, Derek Ray, but pretty much this entire coaching staff. So I feel like it's probably a little bit more of a gatekeeping kind of thing. Like, all right, like you've just left that campus. You got to worry about the next kid you're going to visit, that family, and then what you're doing tomorrow for, tour of duty. Like, you heard about this kid? Okay, I'll look at the huddle film. I'll do some research. I'll reach out to people around him and see if that's somebody that fits into the culture that we're trying to create. So I do think it's a little bit of that. But ultimately, yes, Mike Norvell's not going to let anybody go offer a kid without his blessing. So,
but I think the role, because the words he kept using were organization and communication. So I think, it is hard. I mean, these position coaches do have a lot on their plate, like trying to get their team ready to play and their players to get better. It does help to have a guy say, hey, these are the 8 or 10 dudes you need to call today.
yes.
These are the 8 or 10 guys that maybe you wait a day and call, or you text. You got to DM him. Get up in his Snapchat. He loves Snapchatting. Whatever it is, send him an IG live. I don't know, whatever the social, Twitch. Just Twitch at them. Can you Twitch at people? I assume you can, or get on Twitch. Whatever it is, I think that's what a role is for someone like this, is to figure out, and he mentioned it a bunch of times, about the way to communicate with recruits now is so much different than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a large part of his role, is figuring out who these coaches need to contact, and then how they need to contact them, how often they need to contact them. When was the last time you talked to this kid? Call him again. It's been 3 days. Hey, he just had 180 yards and 2 touchdowns Friday night. Call him and congratulate him. Here's the film of that game. So you don't just say, hey, I saw you had 180 yards. You could be like, hey, man, that was a great cut you had on 3rd and 2. That's why we want you here. That's an unbelievable, whatever it is.
Yes.
Yes. I think that kind of role is what you do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
I should be the assistant to the GM.
Shoot. You should. Maybe you should be the owner. Just buy this freaking organization.
Right.
Start funding everything here. So,
right,
yeah,
I got you.
One day the guy on the buffalo wing was riding around in a forest. Wait, hold on, man. It wasn't a buffalo wing. It was a buffalo he was riding. No, I'm pretty sure it was a Zaxby's buffalo wing. And he was eating a new buffalo garlic glazed boneless wings meal from Zaxby's. It sounds delicious, but it wasn't a... Yeah, it was a guy on a buffalo wing. Well, now I'm hungry. I'm heading to Zaxby's. Guy on a buffalo wing.com.
And don't forget to listen in for the Zaxby's indescribably good Player of the Week every Monday on Wake Up Warchant.
let's go to Hawaii. Spartan Nole 71. Ralph kicking us off. Aloha, guys. How's it? First off, surgery went well. Healing, great. I am following the doctor's orders to a T, working hard to make sure I can fly home for the opener and then to New Orleans. I assume there will be another war chant and or headlines meet and greet. Stay tuned, Ralph. Yeah, I would imagine. Well, when we know the details, you'll be the first to know. Speaking
Even
of
if
New
we
Orleans,
just tweet it out like on Saturday at noon, like, hey everybody, we're at Harrah's blackjack table. Come on by, whatever it is. We'll let you guys know where we are.
the $100 minimum table, though. Got to specify, not the $10
course,
table.
Man. Yeah,
100.
yeah. We're not rolling with that.
Speaking of New Orleans, Corey, when I wrote a few weeks ago asking for things to do, you mentioned the World War II Museum. You won't be surprised to hear that was the top of my list. As a veteran, I really appreciate you giving it a plug and encouraging a visit. Now, my question. I can honestly say that I have not paid attention to the baseball offseason, so based on what y'all have seen and heard, mainly heard, we haven't seen much, speaking personally, what is a realistic expectation for this season? Love you guys, but you already know that. Go Warchant, oorah. Omaha, baby.
Good to hear
Omaha.
you're doing well, Ralph. Yeah, Omaha, absolutely. That's the expectation every year. Maybe last year it wasn't realistic because of the bat situation. But still, if Nander makes that throw in the 8th inning against, who are they playing?
Ole Miss.
Mississippi State? Ole Miss?
Southern Miss. Maybe Southern Miss.
No, they beat Southern Miss in the first game, and they were playing Ole Miss in the second game, and they had the lead.
Yeah, that's right, because
and
the
then
guy
he
that
airmails
hit
the
it,
throw.
the guy that hit it was the dude
had
with
a
the
torn
ACL.
And Nander threw it like Vince Coleman was running down the line. 2 runs scored and they lost. Maybe if he makes that throw, I mean, they have a good chance of at least getting to the Super Regionals last year, and they weren't even very good last year. Omaha is realistic. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've had worse teams than this make it out there. Should be able to hit the ball better, actually put the bat on the ball better than they did last year. Obviously, losing Nelson hurts. Reese Albert is back for, I think, his 8th year. I think he came in the same class as Posey. So Reese Albert will be back. We'll see if he's got anything left in the tank. He certainly, when he's healthy, has been a solid player for Florida State. And they have one of the best pitching staffs in the country, if they stay healthy, including probably probably the best 1-2 in the country, the best 1-2 starting pitching combo in the country with Messick and Hubbard. Yeah. So, yeah, they should be good. We'll see if they can hit, and we'll see if they can field.
By the way, Nander's in Missouri now.
Yeah.
So, shout out to him. But, yeah.
Good luck to him. Hope it works out for him.
Yeah, for sure. I have no animus towards Nander. I mean, he was like the number one player in the nation. Didn't work out. I mean, it happens. But, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how they're going to look in the field, maybe even more so. I mean, offensively is what really hamstrung them. But defensively, it's been such a grind and struggle for so long. And if we celebrate Mike Norvell and what he does in the transfer portal, identifying needs and then meeting them, addressing them. Well, I mean, golly, the entire middle of that infield is going to be pretty much – I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Tyler, although he was at first base mostly. But, I mean, the Brett Roberts, Carrion, the kid from Florida, I mean, that's going to be your second base, shortstop sort of 1-2 combination. Totally different guys that produced at where they were. I think Roberts was at Tennessee Tech. Carrion was at Florida. They got a kid from Alabama, a high school kid that's a great athlete. And we keep hearing Meat talk about how they're going to be much more athletic. So we'll see that defensively and hopefully on the base paths as well. But yeah, I mean, they have to hit better. I know I hate using that. Well, it can't be any worse. We've seen that with other things in our lifetime. But I mean, how do you pronounce the kid's name that went for the Miami Toral? Terrible.
I thought it was just Toral.
Even better.
Alex Toral, but you're wrong.
Yeah,
we'll find out. We'll find out Friday.
Yeah, he mulches. He rakes. That's what he does. So, well, good. Omaha.
He mulches. Is that what the kids are saying?
Yeah, mulch.
Okay.
Omaha. We'll be there. We'll have a meet and greet for that. That'll be our tune-up for New Orleans, everybody. Go to Omaha. You won't regret it. Delicious.
It really is a fun trip. It's a fun trip, everyone. If Florida State makes it out there, you should go. I know you can't go for 2.5 weeks. That's ridiculous. But go out there for a weekend at least. Watch them play twice. It's a really fun trip.
Delicious _crab. Konnichiwa, you are named the college football czar. What is the one immediate change you would make to fix the sport, and what does a realistic fixed version of college football look like? Corey, you're the czar.
You go, Aslan. I feel like I've said mine enough.
Yeah. Well,
you guys know where I stand.
Am I should I spoilers? It should be. We should have done the other way, like where we have to guess what the other one is going to say, like the newlywed game or whatever.
We should do a newlywed. We should do a Warchant newlywed game.
Yeah. I'll scribble
like Jeff and Tom against me and you.
Yeah.
I guess Gene and Langston. I don't know who Gene's partner would be, but yeah, I think that would be really fun. Yeah. Mine is obviously it's got to be more competitive balance. You've got to figure out a way to. No, targeting for sure. Targeting is but that would make college football better. Like, I guess more watchable on a Saturday, but it's not going to make the sport as a whole much better. The problem still exists, and the problem is parity and the lack of it. So you've got to figure out a way to make that a reality.
Yeah. And, I mean, he asked what it would look like. My answer was I'm on this 65 scholarship limit. I just think if you cap scholarships at like the 65 number, maybe 70, they all can't go to Alabama. They all can't go to the SEC schools, so they're going to go elsewhere, and that creates parity. And I was hoping it would look more like the golden era of college football, which was the 80s and the 90s. But I think I did some real rough math on it. I didn't scribble it down. I did the math in my head, which is never a good thing. But I think I counted 25 different teams finished the AP poll in the top 5 in the 1980s. So it was like 25 different teams were in the top 5 when the season was over. And then in 2010 to 2020, I think I counted 22. So that's not really a huge disparity in parity. So maybe it wouldn't work. Not that they were on a 65 scholarship limit in the 80s and 90s. Heck, in part of the 80s, they had no scholarship limit. So, but yeah, I just think if you limit it 65, that just creates an entirely clean, easy way to police this NIL stuff without policing the NIL stuff. Because when Derek Ray was talking about, like why is there the need for your job, I guess more or less, and he was just talking about how it's such a different landscape in terms of how you can communicate with kids. It used to be where you could only call them once a week, unless you're Kelvin Sampson or Bruce Pearl.
Right.
But now you with electronic media, social media, you can reach out to them all the time. And my whole thing is like, why can't we go back to the old way? Make it to where you can only call them once a week, and that's it. But how are you going to police and regulate Twitter? You can't. It's an impossible thing. So this whole thing of like, all right, let's make the SEC, give us all their money. I don't know. But if some sort of regulating body's like, all right, we're going to do 65 people per school.
That's the thing, though, man. And I get what you're saying about the scholarships. I don't think that'll happen just because that's a hard sell about 20 less opportunities for, I don't know what that ends up being if you add it all up. Scholarship opportunities for 18-year-old men in this country. That's thousands. What is it, 1,000 maybe that lose out? 2,000?
Well, it's
that
only
lose
like,
out, and I don't know that
only the Power Fives. I'll let the group. Well, maybe that'll level it out.
That's
then,
still 1,200, right? It's 20 per school, and there's 60 of those, so that's 1,200. That's 1,200 kids that got to go somewhere else. That just it keeps pushing everybody down.
Well, welcome to the real world, kids.
I want to point this out. It's not the SEC's money. It's ESPN's money. ESPN is just right now giving it all to the SEC. ESPN could do what CBS and Fox do for the NFL and spread it all out. That's all. It's not the SEC's money. It's ESPN's money that they're divvying up in this unfair way, which it's just reality, man. The college basketball doesn't work like this. No other college sport works like this. No other big sport in the world works like this. It's just college football where all these teams competing for the same thing, theoretically, 20 of the 60 teams get paid almost twice as much as the other teams, which gives them twice as much money to buy assistants, to build meccas, to pay recruits, on and on and on. And then you wonder why the ACC has fallen behind. Well, the ESPN has a lot to do with it. So ESPN could just divvy out the money. It would make, in my opinion, a better product. A product that is more nationally followed.
I mean, we're making like a boogeyman out of it.
What is the SEC going to stop playing?
I don't know.
Are they going to stop playing football if you don't?
Alabama, Georgia had 15 million viewers. You want to know what Clemson, Virginia had after the 2019 season? 3.9 million viewers. Okay? 15 million viewers, Alabama, Georgia. The ESPN is a lot of this is based on advertising revenue, what they can get for ads that they're selling. I mean, I know part of it obviously is the subscription-based part of it where the guy that's an ACC fan in North Carolina is paying as much for his cable bill as a guy in Oklahoma is. But, I mean, we can't say that the ESPN is controlling all this. Like if Clemson, Virginia drew the eyeballs that Alabama, Florida does or Auburn, Alabama does, yeah, man, we would be getting the same amount of money for our channels, but we don't. I mean, we do not get the ratings.
But why do the Jazz get the same amount of money as the Lakers?
Well, I mean, that's like 30
from TV revenue. What's the difference? It's they both play. They're both playing a sport in the same league. I have to imagine the Lakers get 2, 3, 4 times as many viewers on a national game as the Jazz. So why don't the Lakers get more money?
It's a national package, though, right? I mean, they are.
But that's
the
what
NBA
I'm talking about.
The SEC is 15, 16 teams. They're not.
The sport needs a national package. If it's going to have a national championship with all these teams competing for one thing, it needs to have a national television package. Yeah, otherwise, it creates this.
Who wants to watch us play Purdue? Like I'm a Laker fan. I don't care about the Jazz
who
game,
wants to watch Vanderbilt play anyone? Who wants to watch Ole Miss play anyone? Like, let's not act like Ole Miss in Kentucky brings in a bunch of eyeballs. I mean, it's all, there are going to be bottom feeders in every conference and in every league. The Jazz, the Jaguars, the Bills, they don't move the needle, but they still get paid what the Cowboys and Lakers and Yankees do. Well, not the Yankees. That's a different sport. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why people are so hesitant about this. Like it would be twice as the size of the NFL. Instead of 32 teams, it's 65 teams. But you could do it. And the only way to save the sport is to do it. And realize, yes, Washington State, Oregon State, They are going to be the Vanderbilts and Kentuckys of this particular model. But it helps everybody out. And it evens the playing field where there can actually be real competition. Because is this good for the sport?
No.
For Alabama and Georgia and I guess LSU occasionally they're the only ones that can compete? I mean, this is nuts. This is nuts, and the sport needs to save itself, and ESPN could do that by having a flat package for all of it, but they're not going to do it because, hey, only 4 million people watch Clemson, Virginia, so why would we get the – well, okay, how many people watch Clemson, Notre Dame? How many people watch Clemson, Florida State when they were both really good? Like, it's not just the SEC that cares. And maybe Clemson and Florida State would become a very big game again if Florida State started getting $50 million a year like Vanderbilt and Kentucky do.
Hey-o.
Just throwing it all out there, everyone. Corey Clark on his daily rant about this nonsense. I'm not doing it anymore. Tune in again next year.
Delicious Crab gives me dating advice. I will read it. Corey, you often say that Jeff Bowden did not teach Peter Warwick how to make plays, but I think I remember Warwick had issues with drop balls very early in his career, and there was a sports psychologist who helped him get past that. Is that true? Does FSU currently have a sports psychologist on staff? Seems like our receivers could use some visualization help.
I don't remember that about Peter Warwick, but I'm not going to say it's not true. I just don't remember it. And I don't know if they have a sports psychologist on staff.
I don't think so.
We haven't interviewed one,
Yeah, not
so
full-time.
I don't think so. So, yeah, not a full-time one. I know Trevor Moad, right?
The late Trevor Moad
was the guy for Jimbo when Jimbo was here, but he was like a roving.
Yes, he wasn't full-time.
He wasn't full-time at Florida State. He worked with like 8 or 10 different schools, and Alabama, I think he went to A&M with Jimbo. I'm pretty sure he passed away recently, sadly. But he's the only one that I remember from the last 5 or 6 years. But that I'm sure that doesn't mean they don't have access to one if they need one, but I don't think they have one full-time on campus.
Yeah, I'd rather use that money on NIL to get a kid. Yeah, they were dropping the ball left and right. They couldn't get open, apparently. Or the quarterback didn't have confidence in the small windows he had to throw the ball to them. So, but anyhow, rain or shine, delicious _crab he signs off with. Jimbo 11, good name.
What was the dating advice?
I mean, we got to go. We're 30 minutes. We only got 2 questions in. Just basically telling me to go to volunteering places instead of bars and apps, places that you can volunteer. So,
okay, nice.
Jimbo 11, I would like to know if there's a chance that Tyler Martin's labrum injury was so serious that he could be redshirted this year. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think that's the plan. He had it last year, and that's why That's why he had to play first base. It's because he couldn't throw the ball. That's why I'm interested to see what they do with him this year. If it's still at first, if he goes over to third, he was a really good infielder, or at least he was coming out of high school. So no, I don't think he would be redshirted.
Meat said something that didn't sound extremely encouraging, or like 110% that Tyler was going to be good to go. So I think that's the genesis of why Jimbo's asking that. And I think Meat just doesn't realize that we scrutinize every single word that a head coach says. He'll figure it out soon enough. Well,
yes, if he doesn't play, then yeah, he can absolutely be redshirted and would be, I'm sure.
But I would imagine. I mean, he's in the plans though. I mean, I think that's the question. I think Jimbo 11 is trying to get to. Like, is he in the plans for this season? I haven't heard anything to the contrary. But we'll find out Friday, 6:00 when James Madison rolls into town for opening day. Seminole life. Wake up, boys. Can you fellas give me a rational explanation for why we did not add a quarterback in the transfer portal? Our current quarterback is middle of the road in the country statistically. Apparently not. I think Gene found on PFF that Jordan was like in the 30s. So take that for what it's worth. But middle of the road is not good enough here. Our current quarterback is somewhat brittle. He's never played a full season. And our current quarterback and the other 2 guys in the room are not reliable. Well, no, I take that back. He didn't say that. He said our current quarterback, et cetera, comma, the other 2 guys in the room are not reliable. If you were to go down for any significant amount of time in the first, let's say, 5 games, we were going to see the wheels come off. With Norvell needing a good season, one would think he would want to be prepared for that possibility. Am I wrong here? Thanks, guys. Aslan, keep up the skepticism.
There you go.
I will. Yeah, you're not wrong at
No,
all.
that's part of the it's part of the video that we have up on our YouTube page, the Warchant YouTube page. With it's what I wrote about that's on the site, and then it's also what Jeff Ira and I talk about is the QB position, because it's a legitimate question, man. It's something that I wrote about and we talked about. Is like, you've got no experience behind this guy. Even if you think Jordan Travis is a good quarterback, and I do, I certainly am not confident that if he's going to go the whole season without doing something, whether he misses a couple of series, a half. Like, imagine, they lost the Florida game because of the 2.5 series he missed. They lost it. They just did. That cost them the game. They had the ball one time at midfield. And then immediately the quarterback that comes in can't handle the snap and they lose 20 yards. They could have been in control of that, not in control, but they could have been in the lead in that game. Anyway, so yeah, man, it's a legitimate concern. I think what we talked about during the season, it's hard to sell coming to Florida State to compete for a starting quarterback when it seems like the starting quarterback is entrenched. So you're lessening the fish in that pool that you're fishing out of, lake, pond. So it's just, what kind of quarterback is going to transfer to Florida State knowing that Jordan Travis is entrenched? There's no way that Mike Norvell and these coaches are saying, yeah, no, you're coming as a backup. They are certainly selling the idea that you can compete for a starting spot. We want you to compete for a starting spot. But these quarterbacks have eyes, and they saw what Jordan Travis was 5-2 in his last 7 starts. And the 2 losses were at Clemson and at Florida, both by 3 points essentially. So it's going to be very hard to unseat him. And why would you leave one place where you're assumingly, theoretically a backup, because you wouldn't leave if you were a starter, unless you're Caleb Williams. You leave one place to go to another place to be a backup there. So that's what quarterbacks are going to want to do that. It's a hard portal pull for them, right?
Yes. And I think it's the whole battle of what he says in his question here about, he's middle of the road in the country statistically, which is not good enough here. You mentioned he went 5-2 in his last 7. That's probably not good enough at Florida State. But where are we, everybody? We need to be a little bit practical.
It's good enough.
We need to be practical about where we are. This is not 2013, man. This isn't Bobby Bowden in the 80s. This isn't Jimbo Fisher. We're just not there for whatever reason. Culture, whatever you want to say. Bad coaching hires, whatever. Jimbo being a jerk, whatever you want to blame it on. We're not there. Jordan Travis is good enough for where you have to – your starting point is, or where you want to be in this point in your journey, I suppose. It is year 3, though. You do need a good
But what if
season.
he gets hurt?
Yeah.
What if he gets hurt?
Well, yeah, you absolutely leave yourself open for complete and utter disaster. Why would you do that? Unless you feel that maybe when spring opens up, you'll find something good enough. Maybe you feel that
they have to go. I am of the opinion, the more I talk about it and think about it, they have to go get somebody.
Yeah.
Unless Tate Rodemaker is worlds better than he's ever been.
No, they gotta get somebody.
Maybe he lights it up in spring, man. Maybe something clicks. That does happen. Guys do that. But if you don't see something out of these 2 guys in the spring that make you think absolutely 100%, if Jordan Travis sprains his ankle in the first quarter against LSU, one of these 2 guys can lead the offense. If you don't think that coming out of the Garnet and Gold game, which I think we both think they probably won't think that, if you don't think you have a viable backup, you have to go find a way to get one. You have to. You can't go into the season with Jordan Travis and these 2 guys, because this season is too important. And he is too, I don't want to say injury prone, but banged up prone. He just gets banged up. He's going to come out of some games. It just happens. And you've got to have somebody behind him that can play, that you trust can play. The problem, again, is it's not as if I don't think they're not taking calls.
Right.
I don't think they're not communicating with potential quarterbacks. I think it's a hard sell because of the situation that, you have a guy that's still just a junior that proved he could play at this level, maybe not as well as some Florida State fans hope, but he is definitely the starter going in. And are you going to be able to beat out Jordan Travis, who has been in this system now for 2.5 years, in what would that be, 1 month?
Right.
Because you wouldn't be coming until after the spring. So it's a really hard sell. You got to go find a guy that I think has multiple years of eligibility, but somehow has some experience. Or just go get somebody that's better than Tate.
I don't care anything about their I mean, just you need. I don't care.
Well,
about
but I don't think a senior would want to come for his last year. I just don't think that's viable to think a senior would come for his last year, or a guy that's played 20 games would come to be a backup.
Yeah, no, you're
I
right.
think that person wants to go start somewhere. So that's the fine line. It's a tough balance to find, is those a guy that's got some experience but is willing to probably be a backup.
Why are you hamstringing yourself like this for Jordan Travis? Not to be a jerk about it, but that's the crazy thing.
No, but who's out? Who do you think that you don't think they would have taken Caleb Williams?
Do we
or
think
Max
they
Johnson?
went after him and try to sell their soul to get him? I don't, which I think you should have.
Oh, I mean, I don't know how much. I don't know the soul that could be sold. You're going to have to give a lot of money to him. But I don't. I mean, look, man, he went and followed his coach to USC. Yeah. I don't know what Florida State was going to do that was going to upend that, other than giving him a lot of money.
I want to get either Chuba. I want to get.
And
Chuba
I don't know that
Purdy
Max Johnson.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I don't know that Max Johnson is an upgrade. Certainly not enough to go pay him whatever you might have had to pay him when he left LSU to go to A&M. I mean, he might be awesome. I didn't see enough at LSU to say, okay, this guy's legit. He's incredible. So yeah, man, it's a tough situation. I don't think they're tying themselves to Jordan Travis. Like, this is our guy. We love him to death.
Yes,
we'd rather not have anybody else in the country, because you're assuming that they wouldn't. And it's the reality of Caleb Williams ain't coming. The kid from Clemson isn't transferring here. They're just, maybe JT Daniels will come to Florida State. Who knows? But I don't think they're going to say no to somebody that can play. I just think it's hard to get somebody to say yes to this situation.
I just want to get Chuba or his father drunk and just be like, so you feel better off going to Nebraska and competing against Casey Thompson than you do staying here and competing against Jordan Travis. Why is that? That's all I would ask. And I would just let the film, I would just let it roll. I would let it roll.
We'll see in a couple years if that was a mistake or not, right?
M. Adam CZ, it's Mark. He's in Naples, y'all. Wake up! Proud of the guys for beating Clemson on Tuesday. Good to see they're still fighting. I suppose a miracle tourney berth is possible, Aslan. Crazier things have happened in sports. We need Polite back for sure. We've shown we can beat the likes of Duke and Miami, so why not? Why not us? Absolutely.
Okay.
As far as spring football and the offense, let's start with things we know or that are likely. The offensive line should be better, giving Jordan more time to throw. Jordan should be even better and have the confidence that this is truly his team. He better feel the love. Other returning wide receivers, not the transfers, are what they are. I think Malik McClain should get even better when he's pushed by this new competition. What we don't know, how good will the receivers be that are transfers? Good to fairly good. They have to be upgrades, right? Yes. How good will Trey Benson be at running back, and can Trayshawn Ward take the next step and be an elite running back in the ACC? I predict the offense will be better, but not light years better. I'm interested to see how different it may look with Norvell calling plays. What do you guys expect there? And Corey, I have one prediction that you'll love. We're going to catch and return punts. Love you guys. Go Noles.
I can't wait for that. That's 10 extra yards a game, everyone. Let's just go ahead and tap 10 extra yards to whatever their total was last season per game.
Yeah. There's a lot there. Do I need to transfer receivers?
No,
What will it be?
I was going to say, going back to the question about, the previous question about Jordan being middle of the road, we also have to remember, and it's fair to say this, he was not working with the best in the business catching the ball or in front of him. Like, there was some serious warts on that offense that he some of his stuff hid, or at least put a Band-Aid over. It will be interesting now to see what he looks like with what I think will be a competent to maybe even pretty good receiving core. Maybe one of these guys turns out to be great. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. But he will have better people to throw the ball to, and he will have a better line blocking for him. So this really will tell us what he is. The problem is I understand, it might be too late. Like what if you find out middle of this season? Okay, Jordan just is what he is. He's not very good. Well, all right. Well, then what do you do? Who's the quarterback next year?
What is that though? Like, what
is it him again?
What would he listen? I'm not a Jordan Travis evangelist. Clearly, I'm not anti him. I'm not nearly as cynical as I was about him a year ago. But what would look bad? Like, what have we seen that we think are repeatable bad habits? I don't really see bad habits out of him. He doesn't turn the ball over. He takes a sack here and there, but everybody takes a sack here and there. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't think it's the sacks, and it's not the interceptions. Again, he had 3 over his last 166 passes last year. He had 3 interceptions. One was a Hail Mary. One was a blown up screen that Cam McDonald didn't get a block on, that the guy just fell into an interception. Then the other one was the bad throw in the Florida game where he just left it 2 inside on the go route. He has a tendency to hold the ball too long. He has a tendency to maybe not see things quickly enough, and kind of rolls out to his right a little too soon for my taste sometimes. That's the stuff that I want to see. But it's hard. It's always hard to comment on a quarterback's play when you're not seeing the all 22 because you don't know who's open. You don't know what he's missing. You don't even know what the read is. Like if I could watch film with him and Norvell could say, yeah, you missed that right there. That's open. You've got to see that, Jordan. Or, Jordan, that's a great job. You saw that wasn't open. You looked to your next read. That wasn't open either, and then you knew you had to get out there. I don't know necessarily. I just know that it does not always look calm and confident in the pocket. But I do think it got better as the season went on. And again, his last 3 games, I don't think he threw for over 200 yards in any game in his career until the last 3 games of the season. And they were all over 200 yards. And he also rushed for like 190 yards in those games. So the last 3 games of the season, which, by the way, were Miami, at Boston College, and Florida, he averaged over 300 yards of total offense and scored, I think, 7 or 8 touchdowns total. That'll play, man. That'll play. The guy that was against Miami, the guy that was against BC in the refs, and then the guy that was at Florida, if that guy shows up next year and is just that guy, man, that'll play. Now imagine him getting 10% or 12% or 18% better. Now you're talking about a good quarterback, like a legitimately good quarterback. A guy that you can go into a game thinking, okay, he's not going to lose us the game, and he might get us 320 yards by himself, which is about what he averaged the last 3 games of the season. So just you want to see more of what you saw the last 3 games, kind of a calm, confident guy in the pocket. And buddy, you've got to start picking up third downs. That's my answer, Aslan. Forget all that nonsense I just said. We're going to know if they're still like 109th in the country in third down conversions. That's where I'm going to know, okay, I'm tired of this. We can't do this anymore.
I don't even know who an elite running back in the ACC is. Jordan Shipley, I guess. I like Jalen Knighton, but he fumbles the ball a lot, so I wouldn't trade him for Trayshawn. They'll be good. I don't know, man. If you're not Dalvin Cook, you're just another dude, in my opinion. And that's not a knock on anybody, man. But
yeah,
we don't have a Dalvin Cook.
You've seen elite. Seen elite.
We're not going to have that. Trey Benson on the Jermaine Johnson. So Jermaine Johnson's just an absolute home run. Fabian Lovett's like a double. And then I don't know, Jarquez McClellan is, allowed out.
He's a foul ball to right. He's a foul ball. Allowed out? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I think he's more of a foul ball. We don't know quite what he is yet. It was a weak foul ball.
I'll put Benson between, at least in 2022, I'd say Benson's probably between McClellan and Fabian. He's not Fabian to Jermaine. I don't. But again, this is me thinking a guy that got hurt and hasn't played football in like a year or so. We'll see in spring. These are good questions to ask us, and maybe we'll follow back up on it after we actually see these guys play in the spring. But I haven't seen him, so I shouldn't probably comment on that. But just my cynical take, staying a skeptic per the instructions of Seminole Life, that's where I'm on that.
Right.
But again, better receivers, an improved quarterback, better offensive line, running back. I shrug my shoulders. Whatever, we'll be fine. We'll be fine there. I lose no. I don't think Mike Norvell's sleep that's been lost. I don't even know. If it was a pie chart, the smallest sliver of it would probably be running back. My thoughts.
Well said.
JT Knowles, 2K2. Hey, Aslan and Corey, wake up. My question this week is a simple one. When you first started watching Florida State football, who was your favorite player or players? My answer will show just how much of an old man I am. My favorite player when I first started watching was Myron Roll and Christian Ponder. I'm not sure why.
Shut up.
But
Did he really say that?
Yeah. It's funny. Get it?
Being facetious.
Yeah,
I assume being facetious. All right, good. I thought he was going to say Ron Sellers and Steve Tinsey or something.
I just love when people like drop like I've been like why don't you spend more? I'm like I've been a booster since yada yada's been playing football. It's like let him know. I'm not sure why, but I always liked Dr. Roll when he played for us. However, when I grew older and learned more about his story, he truly became a role model for me, even though I was 6 at the time. I still remember his entrance at the Maryland game in 2008 after becoming a Rhodes Scholar. Yeah, man, that was awesome. Imagine like if it happened in today's day and age, it probably would have had like cameras in the helicopter. It would have been amazing. They would like ESPN would have been tracking him driving to the helipad to get liftoff and everything. I think I like Christian
They did
Ponder.
something like that, right?
Yeah,
I thought they had. Did they film him in the car or something? I thought they got him at the airport. And I know because I was at the Democrat at the time. We had. I'm pretty sure it was Gerald Inslee, our columnist, was in. I think it was in Alabama. I don't know why, but the final. I don't know. The judging, the announcements was in Alabama, and then he took the private plane from Alabama to College Park. And I'm pretty sure Gerald Inslee was in the plane with him. Like there were a couple of media members that were allowed to be in the plane with him. So that was cool.
Yeah. I just remember vaguely during the telecast, like them showing him. Because I don't think he wasn't there for the first snap of the game, I feel like he kind of just showed up like, middle of the game or whatever. Yeah. So they cut to that and you see that and you're like, well, this is incredible, man. This dude is going to literally just play after he just got named this great honor. I think I like Christian Ponder because most people want to glorify Tebow and all the other quarterbacks, but to me, Ponder was just as good as any of those guys. During 2009 and 2010, my game day attire would always be a Garnet 7 jersey. Also, he was the first quarterback I ever saw beat Florida, so that will always be a plus for me. Yes, that's big.
There you go.
That's a huge.
It's always a special place that quarterback holds that beats Florida for the first time in your life.
But mine
was Danny McManus.
Yeah,
1987 was the first one.
But Drew Weatherford never got that from me. Yeah, I'd seen us beat Miami before, but it'd been such a long time, and then he comes in as a quarterback. If you want to talk about quarterback wins are not a stat, Exhibit A there.
Absolutely.
But Christian Ponder is all right, he's bulletproof in my eyes. All right, you got rid of that nasty scent of just futility to those losers. All right, there we go. Then Corey, favorite player or players. Ampley was around in 91. Yes, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Michigan game is one of my more lucid memories. And Ampley running, I'm like, I like that dude. Not to pull out a Willie Taggart answer, but it's a good answer. And then probably Peter Warwick, just absolute absurdity, what he would do. And then in my grown man age, probably Kelvin. I love me some Kelvin Benjamin, man. Some reason, again, I've said this before, people that are from Pahokee and Belle Glade, like that area around Okeechobee to me, I'm just fascinated by growing up down there. Just like their backstories that they all seem to have. And just his physicality, just being 6'5" and seeing him, we thought he was this unicorn, and then it's like he's nothing, and then it's like, oh no, he actually is awesome after all. That's my top 3, I guess. What about you? Who was the first dude for you, Corey? Pull it out.
I think it was probably Sammy Smith.
Okay.
I was 9, I think, when he signed with Florida State, 9 or 10, and he was the biggest recruit they'd ever had in my lifetime. It's right when I started getting to that sweet spot of really caring about sports and about football. And then he was pretty good as a freshman, but got hurt. And that was kind of he got hurt a couple times in his career. But yeah, when I was 12 was the 1987 season, and he was one of the best backs in the country. And again, 12 is the perfect sports age. And he was just awesome. Him and Dion both, but Sammy just the way he ran, he's so big and fast. I would say he was probably my first, what would you call that? My first, not a role model.
Sports idol.
Idol, there you go. Yeah, my first, Dale Murphy was my first sports idol, but my first Florida State football one was probably Sammy Smith, I would say.
Gotcha. Thanks as always for answering my
question.
question.
I got to meet him. I told you that story, didn't I? I got to meet him a couple months ago. He was in town for a golf tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And Bill at Corner Pocket brought him over. Me and Stephanie happened to be there, which was crazy. We sat and talked for an hour. He was just drinking water. And he was just a really nice dude, man. And Stephanie loved him. And of course, Stephanie had no idea who she was talking to. I had to show her a picture of what he looked like in like 1988, like when he was on that track team. He was on that 4x1 with Dion and Dexter Carter, and she's like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "He was." You understand? You're talking to like one of the most ridiculous athletes in Florida history. Like the fact that he was an All-American in track, he was 6'2", 225, and could run like, I don't know, a 10.4, but just nuts. They don't make them like that anymore, Aslan. You think about Bo, Herschel, and Sammy Smith. Those three guys all came in the span of 7 years, all 6'2", 220, and were track stars and looked like bodybuilders. What happened? Now all the track stars are
video games.
They're not skinny, but they're lean.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Keep that in mind, Sammy Smith, his physical and athletic prowess, everybody. Which, shout out, by the way, my real indoctrination of Sammy Smith was Tecmo Bowl. Not Super Tecmo Bowl, but just Tecmo Bowl. Running
Regular
back for
Tecmo,
the
gotcha.
Dolphins. My dude would eat people alive. Thanks for answering my question. Make sure to drink DeLuna, eat Zaxby, subscribe to Warchant, as well as FSU players with a YouTube account. Micah Pittman, Cam McDonald, Jaden Floyd, etc. Have a great day, and as always, go Noles. That's going to be fun to see how that works out. Micah Pittman having his vlog during the year.
Yeah.
As long as they're winning, it'll be great. If not, we'll see.
Right.
Bourbon is your friend. This is Dave in Bardstown, Kentucky. First of all, I'm praying for Jared Lynn, the basketball athletic trainer. Please let us know if there's anything we can do and if there are any updates on how he's doing, as long as he's okay with sharing updates, of course. Will do. Follow Ira on Twitter. Ira's always ahead of the curve on all these sort of things. So he's already reached out to the young man. During our 5-game losing streak, the Fire Hamilton Post appeared on the Tribal Council. I, Dave, Bourbon is your friend, defended Hamilton as best as I could, but there was a retort I wrote and then did not submit for obvious reasons. I wanted to say Hamilton built this program up from almost nothing. He's clearly a Hall of Fame caliber coach, and he seems like a terrific person. He should be allowed to coach for as long as he wants. We would never fire him or push him out the door. We are Florida State. It's just not what we do. Touche. I'd see why you would not submit it for obvious reasons. Well played.
Right.
Well played, Dave.
That is well played.
I do have a question, though. What is your greatest athletic accomplishment? Any walk-offs, touchdown passes, game-clinching threes a la Brady? If possible, could you provide an answer next week from Gene, Ira, Michael, Austin, Tom, and Jeff? Is it safe to say Jeff is the most accomplished athlete on Warchant staff? Probably, yes.
Without a
Not
doubt.
probably, yes.
Yeah, that's without a doubt. Yeah, he was a college athlete. Well, I say that, yes, he is, because he was recruited and signed a scholarship to go play college football, and he could dunk, like legitimately dunk.
Allegedly.
I mean, I saw him do it. I mean, it was
I've seen his
12 years
calves.
ago
I
now.
believe it. I've seen his calves.
It's
He's
crazy.
explosive.
It's nuts.
Pushy.
It's just not fair. What Brady wouldn't do, I won't even go down that road. But yeah, those genes, man. It's just, what are you going to do about it? Mine is, as a freshman in high school, I got the JV hitting award.
Nice.
So for the best hitter on the Meadow Creek JV baseball team. And I was surprised because I thought I'd get the fielding award because I didn't make an error all season at second base. And that's where my athletic career kind of plateaued. Yeah. I made the varsity team. I was on the varsity team. I did not play many innings as a varsity baseball player, but I made the team. But I would say I was peaking right there around 9th to 10th grade was when I was a superstar on the JV team.
Greatest athletic accomplishment. I'm trying to think of. I mean, there's so many to choose from. I'll go with my most athletic.
Maybe the most recent.
It's been a long time, man. I haven't played a competitive sport unless you count slow pitch softball, which I was a terror. I was like a poor man's Tyler Martin in slow pitch softball. Just make contact, get on base. I was just that guy.
Right.
Just that guy, heart of a lion. I don't know. Probably something soccer. I always remember we had like a doubleheader against a team in West Pasco, which I despise. I look down upon them from my ivory tower in North Pinellas County. I'm very classist, in case you guys haven't picked up on that yet. And I think I had a shutout. I played goalie the first game, shutout. We won 1-0. And then the second game, I played goalie again, shut them out in the first half. And then second half, I proceeded to come off my line and play in the field, and I scored left-footed and right-footed within like 3 minutes of each other, and I did the Dion high step right in front of their parents, and like they flicked me off. That was great.
Well, that was a great accomplishment. Good job.
Let's see here. Back to Sammy Smith. Sadly, my greatest athletic accomplishment came in 8th grade, says Dave from Bardstown, Kentucky. Well, not from Bardstown, from Tampa, but now he lives in Bardstown. I improved my mile from 7:45 to 5:46.
Ooh.
Naturally? I mean, would Lance Armstrong help you out with that?
What, were you doping your blood? What in the world's going on out there?
Shaved 2 minutes. And I ran the 400 meters in 56 seconds. I got to high school. There was a plaque listing all the track and field records. 95% of those which were held by one person, Sammy Smith. Needless to say, his records were safe during my tenure at Apopka High School. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect.
The synergy of me talking about Sammy Smith and then the very next question being about Sammy Smith. Folks, we don't have production meetings. This just happens organically. How lucky is this?
Incredible. I mean, we really should go out on that. But, man, we're going to probably get to a lot of these on Monday, or else this will be a 2-hour show.
Come on. We just fly through them here real quick. Come on.
No, there's like 8. Mr. Fly through them. And then
let's go. I'm going to fly through them. Let's go.
Souza _ZP. It's Zach. He used to live in San Diego. I think he's back in Florida. Defense made a significant jump last year. Offense showed some hope. Special teams, worse than the year prior. Does a new influx of returners, Winston Wright, Micah Pittman, or other candidates, pull the special teams group from the back of the pack to middle of the road? Keep the juice pumping. See y'all in New Orleans. Absolutely, Zach. That's right.
I'm gonna say yes. You're gonna have at least 2 competent guys that want to go back there and catch the ball and make plays, and that's something they've been missing since they got here. So just somebody that will go catch it and stop the ball from rolling 20 yards behind them is a huge upgrade. There's a lot of other stuff to fix too, but that is by far the biggest. So having competent guys back there that want to go do it is the first step, and they've already achieved that.
Yeah, it was week 6, and they were still auditioning people. You know, like we're at practice every day. They're mixing in new guys on kickoff and punt return. I don't think they're going to be doing that in the middle of September. It'll be figured out well before then. That's got to have value. So, yeah, absolutely. You want to go from back middle of the road? I'll take that. Yeah, absolutely, Zach. Yeah, absolutely. Book it. Walking Nole 01. Hey, guys. Hope you're both having a good week. Thank you, Walker. You as well. Quick question. This is for you, Corey. I wasn't around. During spring football, before the 2013 season, did the defense win more of the reps, or did Jameis and company win out more? This question is more meant to stir conversation for our spring practice of, when you have a good team, does the offense or defense win more reps during spring ball? I know we're not anywhere close to that caliber of team. Just wondering which side of the ball I should be rooting for. Thanks for all you do. Go Noles.
Well, we didn't get to watch back then, so I don't know. I will say this: it became a practice of legend that spring when you can imagine that defense and who was on it and all the talking that was going on, and that Jameis was still just he was really still just a freshman, in class. He'd been there for less than a year, but they made Jameis live, as in you can hit him on the goal line and he can hit you. And there were a couple of plays, like little QB rollouts and QB sneaks, where he was laying into defenders to try to get in the end zone and then talking about it. And that might have been when Jimbo and Jimbo kind of already knew anyway, but those were the things that really told him, okay, this guy is something different. And that was when kind of the legend started to build of this guy that was going live in a scrimmage against that defense, one of the best in the country, and knocking people back to get in the end zone as a freshman quarterback. But I would imagine the defense won more than the offense, but I have no way of knowing that for sure.
I think that's what Chubba was trying to do. Then broke his collarbone, though. Imagine.
But Chubba's not Jameis.
Imagine. Gator 188. It's Gator Kirk. Wake up. Very excited about baseball starting. Don't forget softball's got a big tournament this week. Thursday, that's later today, 4 p.m. versus number 15 Tennessee on ESPNU. Any thoughts on interviewing Red Lightning? He's been a part of 4 NCAA championship teams at 3 different sports at FSU. Join Warchant, become an FSU booster, go Noles.
What's the other one? Is it softball?
I think, right? Yeah.
What's he do with softball? I know he's soccer. I know he was part of the soccer program this past year. I didn't know he did anything with softball. Yeah, hey man. In the summer, we're up for interviewing anyone.
Yeah.
We put Red Lightning on there. Yeah, that's true. I think that's an interesting story because I interviewed him back in 2013 when they made the highlight video of him, which is really funny, by the way, and it's still on YouTube. If you want to go find it, his highlights from 2013, the ball boy. If you don't know who we're talking about, it's the red-haired ball boy that worked the sidelines for Florida State in 13 and 14. So yeah, and he became kind of like a
cult hero,
a fan favorite, a cult hero. That's a better way to put it. Yeah. So yeah, we can get him on, sure.
Drill Sergeant Porter, wake up! I know we should, in all caps, win the opener, but it seems like 2 decades since we won a game in the month of September. Come on, Drill Sergeant Porter. It's Duquesne, man. Can you imagine?
That was August. That's an August game.
Oh, that's right.
That doesn't even count. That's games in August.
Oh, you're smarter than I am, Drill Sergeant Porter. Also, I love the stories about Brady Clark. Reminds me of coaching my daughter's basketball team and telling them the phrase, practice makes perfect, isn't true, because if you practice something the wrong way, you'll develop bad habits. Instead,
Amen.
what we say is,
Amen.
Perfect practice makes perfect. As always, go
Amen.
Noles.
Amen, Drill Sergeant Porter. Amen to that.
Yeah, open your heart up, man.
Couldn't say
Open
it
your
better.
heart up. Love. Open your heart up, Drill Sergeant Porter, for a 2-0 start. It's February. Just do it. You just got to. You got to. I think somebody asked
It could
us here
happen.
again, about LSU. I haven't dove into their depth chart yet, so I will maybe this weekend. But yeah, 2-0. Let's go for it.
Hey, they did not get Caleb Williams. LSU
Yes.
was seriously apparently in the running for Caleb Williams, and they did not get him. So that already is a win for Florida State.
Absolutely. And you want to talk about being banged up? LSU's quarterback makes Jordan look like Brett Favre. So,
Okay.
although wait,
All right.
Brett's
Nice.
always banged up, but he would always play though.
Right. Yeah.
Joe Montana played a lot, but then he elbowed. I'm sorry, everybody.
I got it.
This is
I got
not
what
one of
you're
my
saying.
better shows. It's not a good show. This is not a good Aslan show. Captain
Finish
D
strong.
Captain D_63. Good morning, Aslan and Corey. I hope you two are having a blessed day. I hope you're having a blessed day as well, Daryl. I have a couple questions. Well, first off, the second question was about Norvell quarterback transfer portal, so we kind of got that one out the way. Back to baseball. Last year we had trouble making contact, runners in scoring position, getting stranded. Is this something the coaches have worked on in advancing players and scoring them and not leaving them on the base paths?
I'm going to guess yes. And they also got guys that are more capable of doing it. Like Cabell is just Cabell, man. Robbie Martin was a good hitter, good college hitter. He struck out a ton. You've gotten guys out of the lineup, Nander. You've gotten guys out of the lineup that were essentially dead outs if they didn't hit the ball. Anybody's a dead out if they don't make contact. But Cabell is just, second, third, nobody out. It didn't really matter with him. The whole question was if he's going to make contact, he's going to hit it hard. But he didn't make contact enough, and that went up and down the lineup. And they really do think they have alleviated that. Now again, it's college baseball. It's baseball in general. They're going to strike out. Every team does, but you don't have to lead the nation in it. So if they go from like whatever they averaged, 12 strikeouts a game last year as an offense, to 8, that's a big deal. That's an extra inning and a third of making contact. Every game, they won every game last year. There were 4 innings where they weren't going to make contact. That's just 4. That's 12 outs. That's 4 of not even putting the ball in play. So you got 5 innings to try to put the ball in play and make something happen. Now that should be, it should just be easier for them to get runners in, to move runners over, to get them home, to do situational hitting. They were not good at that at all last year. I don't know how much you blame coaching for that. You can go for it. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but it also helps to have guys that have an ability to put the bat on the ball. More Tyler Martins.
Like, what do we think the first 5 in the lineup are like? I guess maybe the Brett Roberts kid from Tennessee Tech, because I think he had a pretty good OBP, even playing out over there where it wasn't really all that pronounced. But then Tyler
Martin has
second,
a good OBP.
Logan Lacey bats third. Jordan
Logan
Carrion.
Lacey's up there somewhere. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, they're going to be some new faces, so we'll see what they want to do. But they will. I think the top of that lineup will have a lot more bat on the ball ability than they've had the whole lineup 1 through 9 should have more bat on the ball ability. Which again, I know people think, what does it matter if you strike out or pop up? An out is an out. Well, no, man. Every time you put the ball in play, you give yourself a chance to actually get on base and to move somebody over. Every time you swing and miss, that chance is gone. So it just like the Astros, man. I know my Braves beat them. I still watch those highlights every night, gang. But the Astros, one of the best things they did is they did not strike out a lot. They always put the bat on the ball. They moved runners over. They made sure that a defense had to go make a play to get out of an inning instead of just swinging wildly at a pitch in the dirt. So do some of that. It's college baseball. Teams make errors. Put the ball in play and put the pressure on the defense.
It'd be really cool if Matt Nelson would have stuck around, but
I don't know what his deal was.
Selfish.
I guess he just didn't like college. I don't get it. Really selfish. Same thing with Scotty Barnes. Don't think that I haven't forgotten about you, Scotty, and what you left this program in. Like, I got to go make millions of dollars right away. Can't play another year in college. Come on, man.
We got 3 more, and
we did it, man. I told you.
10 paragraphs, so buckle up.
Let's say there's 10,000 people listening to this show right now. How many of those 10,000 think I was just serious about Scotty Barnes?
13, which is still too
agree.
much.
Right. That's too many. It's too much. I mean, I'm really thick with the sarcasm, folks. But yeah, there are always some people that don't quite get it.
I'm not about Derwin, though. Derwin shouldn't have left us. Selfish. What did we get from Derwin?
Kitchen?
What did we get from Derwin?
Derwin James you're talking about.
Yes. We got him blowing up.
He had a good
Florida.
freshman season.
I mean, I love him.
I
love you. I wanted more, man. I had plans for us, man.
I gotcha.
Sign up for Warchant, Drinker DeLuna, hit the thumbs up. Go Noles. Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate you, man. Old Dad's a Nole. Wake up. I was riding along, listening to your YouTube video on wins and losses. Or rather, to the YouTube video on wins and losses, Jeff and Tom. Outside the first game or two, I really didn't know the schedule. As Tom and Jeff were going along, I was just too inside my head. Now I realize this isn't going to be a popular opinion, but I didn't see it impossible at all to be 4-7 going into the Florida game. Ouch. I've been a fan since Woodham and Jordan, so I want the best for this program. But after the last 4 years, 3 of which I literally bet the over on win totals, I've come to realize that the name on the jersey just does not guarantee anything anymore. I know you guys will probably do a win or loss show if you haven't done so already. We won't. It's a Tom and Jeff thing. Plus, Corey's averse to it. God forbid Corey has to make a stance on something that could possibly come back and criticize him.
Right, right.
But I am missing something on the season. Am I? Am I missing something on the season? How large is winning that LSU game with the next game a road venue that at 1-2 with a road loss could send the season spiraling again? No. Hoping for the best. Old Dad. I mean, golly, Seminole life. I mean, you want me to stay skeptical? I don't have to. I'll just read Old Dad's questions. Love you, Old Dad.
I mean,
no, there's
look,
nothing
man,
to miss. It's what Corey said, man. Every game is winnable. Every game is losable. I don't know how many teams can say that. I mean, I don't know if it's a good company to keep, bad company to keep. But again, man, if this guy's who we think he is, or you're hoping he is, if these transfers are who you're hoping they are, who you think they're going to be, listen, you got to go into Louisville and beat them on a Friday night. That shouldn't be scary. Like, it shouldn't. I know it's going to be, but, like, it shouldn't. Wake Forest at home should not be scary. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to win those games going away, but, like, at what point do we stop fearing them? Do we need to have Jameis Winston? We need Jameis Winston and a defense that only allows 12 points per game to where we don't fear, or we need Dalvin Cook around here, that we don't fear NC State. That's... Ugh.
I think the way to look at it is, until otherwise, you're cheering for Boston College-esque team. In the sense that Boston College goes into every game with a chance to win and a chance to lose. And they do a lot of both. That's where Florida State is right now. Hopefully we get to a point where you're cheering for Florida State again, or a Clemson team again. But even going into this season, until proven otherwise, until they show us they can go 6-1 in the first 7, you're always going to have this viewpoint of a schedule like, well, yeah, we're about on par with that team. We're about on par with that team. We're a little bit better than that team, a little bit worse than that team, but crazy things happen. That's just the reality of where Florida State is right now. So certainly 4-7 is a possibility. We have to see. We'll know more at the end of September. But the one thing I would say is I wouldn't see it spiraling, because if any season was going to spiral, it would have been last season, and they did right the ship after a horrendous start. So I wouldn't see it spiraling unless, you're
but
playing.
It's a second time,
no offense,
though,
Tate.
right?
I love you. If you're playing Tate Rodemaker at quarterback, it could spiral.
I agree with you with that sentiment, because if it didn't go off the wheels last year, then what could make it go off the wheels? But wouldn't 2 years in a row of it be what would make it? I think it's improbable. I think this team is going to a bowl game. If they don't go to a bowl game,
there you go. Nice, Aslan.
Severe changes.
I guess it's like treat these opponents like snakes, right? Don't they say snakes are as afraid of us as we are of them?
I've never heard that.
So treat them like that, like a wild animal. It's not like Louisville fans are a Friday night are chalking up a win over Florida State. It's not like Wake fans, if there are any, are chalking up, man, that road game in Tallahassee is going to be a piece of cake. They're as worried about that game as you are. So that's where you are right now. It used to be those teams were much more worried about the game, and in fact, weren't even worried about the game because they knew they were going to get their heads beaten in. Well, those days are over, but they're still as worried about you as you are of them. So you've at least made some strides, as opposed to a few years ago, we're like, well, this is an automatic W. So you're making strides. You're like a wild animal in the forest.
I can't imagine. 4-7, good gosh. Improbable. Not impossible, improbable. Old dads and all. And if it is, then hey, man, we get to talk about coaching hot board, which I love. The only thing I like talking more about a win is a coaching hot board. Legitimately, that's not.
Isn't improbable and impossible the same thing?
No, it just means that something that's improbable is not likely to happen. It's the probability is low. It's improbable, not improbable.
I guess I've always used it, and I know that probable and possible are different words. It's a probability, not a possibility. I say that a lot. But an improbability I've always viewed it as that's got no chance of happening.
Well, the Red Sox winning the World Series in 2004 was
improbable. You're right. But it obviously wasn't impossible because they did it. Yeah. They did it.
All right, designations. I put on doubtful. NFL designation.
Okay.
Out, doubtful, questionable, probable.
There you go.
So we'll go there. Last one, we did it. Thank you, Corey. Way to push through. 3 graphs on this one. No, I lied. We got 2 more. Random_John, good morning, Aslan and Corey. My apologies for not writing last week. Work has been getting ridiculously busy. It is a good thing in some ways and absolutely terrible in others. Example, not being able to write to you guys or listening to your last show last week. What can I say? Kids, family, work come first.
Yep.
Put those in order for me next week, Random_John.
And throw Wake Up Warchant in there somewhere.
No, but those 3.
Kids, work, Wake Up Warchant. What's the order that they go in?
Okay. Yeah. You can leave the podcast up. I want to know where you rank being a father, being a husband, in your career. What goes 1, 2, 3? Curious, genuinely. Maybe I should sit down with my wife, my boss, my children, and tell them. Or he just said kids, so singular. I don't want to put too many in his brood. And I should tell them how important you two are to the world, and then I would have more time to enjoy your dulcet tones. Now on to my questions. With our basketball team down to its third stringers, thank you, Random_John, you're the best. With our basketball team down to its third stringers and walk-ons and showing what they look like with third stringers and walk-ons, what is a real expectation for the team this year? Sure, they beat Clemson by 1, but when we win, we always seem to win by 1, whether it's Duke, Miami, or even Clemson. But when we lose, by golly, we make sure that our breaks have certainly been removed through a very thorough beating. Now that we are armed with the knowledge that we will only ever win by 1 or be beaten mercilessly, again, I ask, what should be our expectation of the team this year?
There is a chance that Tuesday night was the last win of the season, at least till the ACC tournament. It just all depends on the injury situation. So, look, man, the expectations have been lessened considerably. At Duke on Saturday is, I almost want to say, an impossibility. I'll go improbability. but it's almost impossible to envision a scenario in which they win that game. So then you've lost 7 of 8. You just look, man. It is what it is. You don't have requisite skill to play the way you want to play and beat these teams. Linder was in there for a few stretches. He had a big 3 actually for Florida. So they played 2 walk-ons in the game on Tuesday night, and you're just not going to get by in the ACC playing like that. And again, no offense to Wyatt Wilkes, I like the kid. I shouldn't say kid. He's 22, 23 now. Business owner too, by the way. But he's not a guy that can play 30 minutes in an ACC game and win those minutes. He is a guy that comes off the bench and gets you, if he gets hot, 3 or 4 threes. It gives you some productive minutes, but 30 minutes is asking a lot on both ends of the court. And that's what they're up against right now. Maybe Caleb Mills comes back quickly. Anthony Polite can come back at some point. McLeod even. If that happens, then maybe they can win a few games late in the season if those 3 guys come back. But this current roster, it's hard to see them. It's just hard to understand how they would win another. Like, are they going to beat Virginia? At Virginia? Are they going to win at Duke? I just don't see those games being competitive right now.
It's kind of brutal when you look at it. They go at Duke Saturday, at BC Monday, at Virginia the following Saturday, and then close it with Notre Dame and NC State at home. Which
maybe NC State at home.
Yeah, that's the same day as spring football.
Yeah, maybe.
By the way.
Yeah, Notre Dame. That is a bad matchup. They shoot the lights out of the ball. Those are maybe they beat BC on the road because that's not really a true road game. But yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough. So the expectations are try to get better for next year, lay a foundation so next year you can get back to the tournament and hopefully avoid these injuries.
Yeah, and market yourself to other Caleb Mills-esque transfers. So
sure, go get you a big guy.
Okay, but do we really need
a
big
shooter?
Guy?
Go get you a shooter.
Like,
go get you a shooter.
Are Tenor and Naheem? They're
I don't mean
enough.
a big guy like a 7. I don't mean a 7'2" guy. I'm sorry. I meant more like a Malik Osborne.
Okay.
A 6'9" guy that can move. That can play center. A 6'9", 6'10" athletic guy that can play center. That can switch, and play guys out. Play point guard when they do a pick and roll. That's what you need to go find because there's nobody currently on the roster if Malik Osborne doesn't come back that can do that.
Okay, and that answers the second part of his question, which was. With what we have coming back on the team and showing how much they love losing in grand fashion, what should we look like or look forward to next year? More walloping of our team? Are we destined for a 2013-16 type run, or is it Final Four or bust? It is my sincere hope that Hamilton gets a giant mobile center, a 2 guard that can shoot, and a point guard that can shoot as well. I know one way for that to happen is to have Zaxby's and DeLuna Coffee buy us some good basketball players. Speaking of sponsors,
that money's all going into the football portal, though.
Yeah, come on, man.
But maybe we can do that. Yeah, there's plenty of money to go around for both, isn't there? Yeah, they do need a point guard that can shoot. Although Raekwon shot well the other night, would go a long way.
That's scary to think about them reverting back to that era where it was, get rid of Hamilton. But again, you're 1 or 2
I
players
don't
away
see that.
from that.
I feel like it's a blip, man. I mean, they were in first place. It was by the skin of their teeth. They were in first place in the ACC, even with this roster, and they just couldn't. There were a couple guys that got hurt that they just couldn't. They couldn't overcome those injuries. You hope that you don't have that kind of injury luck next year. And then if the guys that come back that need to come back, Cleveland, Butler, Fletcher, Mills, perhaps, if those guys come back, then you have the makings of a pretty solid foundation. But you do need some pieces.
Speaking of sponsors, eat Zaxby's, drink DeLuna Coffee, subscribe to Warchant, and most definitely make sure you only ever win any competition by 1 point.
Amen.
We're going to come on.
What did you say? It was 5? They've won.
Yeah,
they've won 5 games by 1 point.
Nation's best.
Yep.
I'm not going. Hey, win's a win, baby.
Absolutely.
Like Bob Green said in Butte, Montana, man, winning is like ex-wives. There's no such thing as a beautiful ex-wife, and there's no such thing as an ugly bride. So I'll take the win.
Absolutely. By the way, real quick, we didn't talk about it yesterday on the last show, but that shot that Clemson missed at the end, as much as I like Cam Fletcher and all the good he does for Florida State, if you go back and watch what he did on that defensive possession, you wonder why coaches get gray hair or go bald. I mean, it just defies belief what he's trying to do. He's the reason Clemson got a wide open look. I don't know what he was trying to guard against. As a friend of mine texted, if P.J. Hall wanted to drive into the student section, Cam Fletcher had that guarded perfectly. Otherwise, he was doing nothing of consequence on the court defensively. It was really bizarre, and he actually fell down. It was on his face when the Hemingway kid let the shot, and there's a 42% three-point shooter, let that shot go to win the game. So that's the stuff that the more experience he gets, you hope he gets out of that, because if he can get rid of that kind of stuff, the slippage, the defensive mistakes, miscues, losing focus, whatever it is, man, he has a chance to be something, dude, because even a lot of the shots he misses are layups that just roll off. Like, he's been really close to having like back-to-back 24, 22-point games. He's impressive. So just clean up the defense a bit a little bit there, Cam.
If you've made it this far, maybe you're willing to come.
One more. Let's do it.
Bjorn Werner's Schnitzel writes.
Boy, we waited the last but not least.
Top of the morning to you, gents. Any chance of Zaxby's sponsoring NIL deals for FSU players? I know Bojangles sponsored Howell NDJ Ukulele. He spelled ukulele. Uwe Ungalele. This past year, and I would love to have Jordan Travis or Dylan Gibbons be the one advertising my kickin' chicken sandwich. We can reach out. I'd rather have the money personally. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, we can see. I don't like telling other people that give me money how to spend their money.
Right. Smart. That's a good way to go through life, my man.
Yeah. But join boosters, everybody. I just got my ticket for the LSU game in New Orleans, and I am beyond excited for the upcoming season. We almost upset Brian Kelly and Notre Dame last year when they had a playoff contending team. I don't see how on earth we could lose to Brian Kelly again this year. It will be his first game in his first year with a new staff, implementing a new system, and a roster with a lot of turnover. Meanwhile, FSU has a lot of continuity and hopefully consistent improvement. Does LSU have enough talent left to give a reality check to an optimistic FSU team, or is it the perfect launch point for our 9 or 10 win season and reemergence into national relevancy? I think more of the latter. I mean, reality check. I mean, what reality, though? Like, what's LSU going to – I mean, no one thinks we're going to win a national title. If we lose to LSU, I don't know what kind of reality check that's – I mean, what, we're gonna beat Duquesne 63-3 and be like, all right, man, let's go ahead and, book the Waldorf Astoria in Scottsdale. We'll be there for the Fiesta Bowl playoff or whatever. Talent-wise, I mean, I don't know. I haven't dove into their depth chart yet. I know they got the Keyshawn Butte kid coming back. He's really good. He's better than any receiver that's on this roster, real and or imagined, in terms of how good we think they're going to be. Quarterback, again, is a guy that has not made it through, I don't think, maybe an entire 60-minute football game at the collegiate level. I might not be exaggerating on that. There's a little bit of hyperbole, but there might be no hyperbole in that. But it is LSU. You figure they'll find a way to run the ball fairly well. We'll see how this team will be defending the run. With Jermaine and Kier not being there, as much as we talk about their pass rushing presence, Kier did a good job of setting the edge. I do think Jermaine's presence alone probably makes you a little bit skittish doing anything. But you got Coop and Fabian hopefully anchoring things. But I just feel like LSU's always going to find a way to run the ball. You are playing that basically in their backyard. They do have a good receiver. So it'll be, a worthy adversary. I'm not scared of the game at all. I will dive into their depth chart this weekend and let you know more about it. Bjorn Werner Schnitzel. What do you think, Corey?
Well, it's also easier to. It's who knows? It's a winnable game. It's also February. They got a whole spring to go through. We'll see what they look like after spring. It's easier to answer then, and it's also easier to answer August 20th. Injuries happen, transfers happen, in and out. So it's just hard. It's almost hard to know right now what their roster is even going to be completely looking like, who the quarterback's going to be. So many questions, Aslan. So many questions. But Florida State, I expect to be better than last year. I expect Florida State to play. How about this for a prediction? And then we'll wrap up the show. I think Florida State will play better in this game 2 of this season than they did in game 2 of last season.
Love it.
There you go.
Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this entire way, I wish I could give you some sort of prize or some kind of bonus. But all
Are you talking to me?
No, the people that are listening to the show.
Oh, all right. Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
No. All I can say is that we'll be back with you guys on Monday, and we'll do this all over, but it'll be better. And hopefully, Florida State's baseball team will be 3-0. We'll have that to talk about.
And the softball team will still be undefeated.
Yeah.
And Florida State basketball will be coming off a huge win over Duke.
Yeah. And maybe Adrian Walshut can run the fastest time in collegiate history this week. Come on.
Yeah, Lauren Ryan, too. Maybe Lauren Ryan can do something again.
Yeah. It's a good time to be a Nole, everybody. Don't forget that. Ever. Because it's the next day, and it always will be that way. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.